Have we humans finally become God? Well, the way God created us humans from a part of himself, recently the scientists at Columbia University also made a mini clone of a cancer patient to save his life. That is, a mini clone of a real human, so that they could test how the original patient's body would react to chemotherapy. But after all, how does this joke human clone, that is, a carbon clone of humans look? You are alive also, and human cloning is banned in most of the companies and is illegal.
Known cloning techniques to actually create a human being is untested, unsafe, and morally unacceptable.
So what is the loophole with the help of which these scientists and even some companies are secretly making human clones? And if this is so, then can it not be possible that many of these clans could be among us today? Many of these clans are living secretly somewhere among us. Well, modern science has become so advanced today that many of us are not even aware of them. And this was just a glimpse of the latest technology. A PhD student from UK, Alexa Lopez, has recently discovered such a huge mega structure of the universe, which should not have exited according to the principles of physics. The name of this huge structure is the Big Ring, and how it will take our understanding of the universe one step further. We will discuss it in details. But today, science is making such progress on a large scale, which is much more interesting than that. Technology has already developed on a micro scale. 6:40 p.m. Watch this video carefully, how this tiny thing looking like a spring is rotating rapidly on its own, and how it is hitting the sluggish sperm, i.e. semen, and entering the egg. Do you know what this thing is? Well, a small robot, nanorobot, or nanobot, was made by a scientist to target cancer cells. Now expert scientists are doing its technique in such a way, you will know its technique in a few minutes. You are going to be mind blown, just like last century. In this century, also, there have been many such amazing discoveries and inventions which are going to change the world in future, but nobody paid attention to them because we were busy on Instagram. So that is why today's video is dedicated to those greatest scientist invention achievements who are taking the human civilization to the next level. So let us start our first big discovery, the Big Ring. Look towards north at night. If you look carefully between the Boutique constellation and the Energy Major constellation, you will see a large ring-like structure. This is called the Big Ring. It is so huge that estimates show that to measure its width, we will have to arrange about 13,000 miles of back galaxies in a line. And exactly this goes completely against the principles of physics. Let us also explain it to you. Actually, it is an old principle in science. It is called the cosmological principle, which says that on a larger scale in this universe, no space is special. You are almost the same everywhere. If you look at something, and all the people of physics everywhere will also do the same thing, according to which even today, 13.8 billion years ago when Big Ben was formed, which, by the way, if you do not know, gave birth to our universe, then at that time, within microseconds, all the energy contained in a single point was thrown in all four directions. Like the bombs came out. Atoms of all these elements, hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, were formed. The radiation of the initial time of this universe, i.e. cosmic microwave background reaction, which is called CMBR for short. If you look carefully, then there also except some small dark spots here and there. You will see that the radiation is spread equally everywhere. But the megastructure called the beginning, that we have found now goes completely against this cosmological principle, because this represents a special place in the universe where a good amount of matter is concentrated. Plus, if we found only one such structure, then it would also be fine. It can be a normal thing. Or we could also say that maybe there might have been an error in measuring it, but scientists have found 3 more such structures: the Claws Group, the Great Ball, and the Giant Park, which are almost this big. So, well, what now, you may ask? What difference does it make if the cosmological principle is disproved? What happens if the universe is equally distributed or not? Why should it matter to us? These are big cosmological principles of our physics. Already then the calculations will become 10 times more difficult. Because when you do an experiment on Earth today and then repeat it again after a delay of 5 years, then even if you have done that experiment in the lab, in those 5 years, our Earth, the solar system in which it is present, our Milky Way galaxy, and the local group of this galaxy in which the inhabitants are present, together with their movement, we would have moved at least millions and billions of kilometers in space. Now, if there was no cosmological principle which says that the laws of physics are the same everywhere, then in all the experiments done on Earth, we would have to take our current position in space into consideration every time. But accurate calculations, which basically mean that this single discovery has challenged our entire understanding of physics and the universe. And we know only time will tell how scientists can take us out of this unique portal. Now let us move towards another big scientific achievement, which is nanobots. A human body is quite complex. Hey doctor, no matter how much experience you have, there are some surgeries in which it is extremely difficult to avoid complications. For example, here, if there is a tumor right next to our ear and the need arises to remove it, then performing such surgery becomes extremely tricky, even for an experienced surgeon. If by mistake, this facial nerve gets cut while cutting the tumor, then half of the patient's face will become paralyzed. Similar dangers include thyroid. It also happens during operations. If by mistake the ring-grade regal is cut, which controls our vocal cord, then the patient will become dumb forever. Now, humans are humans after all. Anyone can make mistakes. And that is why, for the past several years, our medical professionals desperately needed such technology which is less invasive. That is, which would require minimum incisions, so that the patient is not forced to fear or regret the treatment more than the disease. And that is why recently, scientists have made such nanoparts which, if injected in your body like a drug, can eliminate tumors in parrot, thyroid, or anywhere else in a very targeted manner without any complex surgery. For example, the O-board fusion that we saw in the beginning in sperm, recently scientists have upgraded it and developed a new treatment. They loaded a toxic anti-cancer drug called Ruby Dog Show Ruby Sun Chloride in the sperm cells. Then, by magnetically controlling these nanoparts made of iron oxide, they picked up those anti-cancer sperms with them and then made those deadly sperms penetrate into the cancer cells, like a suicide mission to kill them. This basically eliminated two major side effects of anti-cancer drugs, because earlier the cancer drugs used to damage the surrounding healthy tissues as well, and these drugs also got diluted by mixing with the blood in our body, which made the treatment ineffective. It would have happened, but with this new technology we send the sperm on a suicide mission. Both these problems are solved, and hence it has become a highly effective drug delivery system. So all those cancer patients out there, I will just tell you that just hang in there. Very soon curing your cancer is going to be as easy as going to a nearby clinic and getting an injection. Well, no late, move on to the next week's achievement, which is miniature nuclear batteries. Imagine a phone that never needs to be charged, a remote or watch whose cell never needs to be replaced, and a camera that doesn't die in the middle of capturing your best moment. Will you guess what? This can actually be possible in the next 4 to 5 years. There is a Chinese company called Beijing Beta Bold New Energy Technology Limited. They have made a nuclear power battery, which is as small as a coin, but can charge your devices for the next 50 years without any charge or maintenance. Just recently, the World Nuclear Association also promoted it on its official link and handle. Looking at which Beijing Beta Bold people are positive that by 2025 we will start bringing these nuclear power batteries into the market. Now, how does it work? Well, it contains a radioactive isotope of nickel, nickel-63, which is divided into two. Synthetic-made diamonds are placed between the layers. So when a nickel-63 DK is radioactive decay and high-energy beta particle, or simply high speed. When it releases electrons, the electrons knock out the electrons from the diamond atoms and blow them out. Now, this obviously leads to accumulation of a lot of electrons on one side of the diamond structure and a shortage of electrons on the other side. So, if you connect these two low and high density regions with a wire, current will start flowing through it. Now, technically, this is exactly similar to a solar cell. Actually, it is just that here, to knock out the electrons, it is not the photons of sunlight, but the beta particles of a radioisotope. But this question will also come to your mind that for nuclear power, huge power plants are required. Thousands of safety precautions have to be taken. To keep its core cool, it has to be immersed in water and so on. So, how did you fit it in a small battery as small as a coin in this Beijing beta bolt? Well, unlike traditional nuclear power plants where nuclear energy is first converted into thermal and then into electric energy and is strong, nuclear force, which is the third fundamental force of nature, is used here in Beijing. Beta bolt, on the other hand, nuclear energy is converted directly into electrical energy. And the nuclear force, which is the third fundamental force of nature, is being used to power these batteries. And these batteries are very small, but anyway, radioactivity is involved. So what is the safety of radio? When you hear about active, the first thing that comes to your mind is cancer. So well in this battery because radioactive nickel-63 has been used, it, as we know, is powered by nuclear force. That is, it emits beta particles with low penetrating power. Now, it does not produce as dangerous strong nuclear force as the uranium-235 core used in traditional nuclear plants. That is, after penetrating one of the hardest substances in the world like diamond, there is no chance that the beta particles will be able to penetrate even the protective casing of the beta bolt battery. All in all, the next generation is much safer. But still, as an extra precaution, the Beta Bolt company is going to supply these batteries first only for medical devices and space tech, and then only after it becomes latest, we will be able to see these batteries in big consumer products. Now let's move on to our fourth and the most important achievement, which is a cloning breakthrough, as we knew in the beginning. For many years, we thought that human cloning or animal cloning in general, it is illegal. But the kind of news that is coming out recently, it seems that secret cloning has become a very glorious industry and people are also printing huge money from it. Now see, how is this happening? In the year 1996-97, when the first cloned animal, Dolly the sheep, was introduced to everyone, some scientists immediately wanted to test this cloning technology on humans as well. They believed that with this technology, they can help infertile couples in the meantime. An American cloning company, Clonit, was born. It immediately started using the cloning technique somatic cell nuclear transfer used for Dolly on humans as well. Basically, in this technique, they would take some tissue samples from the parents and then remove the nucleus from one of those tissue cells and inject the nucleus of another tissue in its place. After that, whatever cells were found in the unsecured samples would start multiplying. After going to the stage of an embryo, they were planted in the uterus of a surrogate mother. At the end of this process, the child that was finally born was an exact clone of its parents. It looked like a carbon copy of the one from which it got its nucleus. Simply put, in a way, it was an exact twin of its parents, just from a different timeline. Now, using this technology, the CEO of Clonit, Bridget Bicelerio, said that they have already created 20 human clans and the first baby among them was born on 1st of December. She was born on 26th January 2002, which Eve is today probably living somewhere among us as a 22-year-old ordinary college-going girl. And the fact that she is a clone of a human being is probably not known to her. But cloning is Ben, right? How is this possible? Well, it turns out that's just half-truth. Firstly, human cloning has been done. In only 46 countries out of total 195 countries that they have no idea. And that is why cloned Eve and rest of the cloned babies were developed outside their home country, USA. Talking about the 46 countries which have banned this, in almost all the countries only human cloning is banned, not animal cloning. That is, polishing the cloning technique by doing trials of cloning on animals is going on in full swing in all the countries. You may not even know this fact, but today many foreign celebrities collect tissue samples of their pets in their last moments and send them to USA Best by Jan Pets, China Best Sinjin, or South Korea Best Som Biotech. And within just 2 to 3 months, clone puppies of their dead pets are delivered to their homes. That is, today we have progressed so much in cloning that if this ban is completely lifted, then we can create a clone of any human being, an exact carbon copy. In fact, in the beginning, I had talked about the scientists of Columbia University who had created a miniature clone of a cancer patient. Well, that shows our human cloning ability. The lead scientist of Professor Gadona Baijan, Naya Beach, and his team first grew the patient's heart, liver, and breast tissue in 4 separate compartments, then connected them through artificial blood vessels and circulated the patient's blood in them, and then tested the anti-cancer drug doxorubicin on them and compared it with real-life human trials. The results showed that the miniature organ system is reacting exactly like a real human body. In the clinical after testing it, it was compared with real-life human trials. And the results showed that the miniature organ system was reacting exactly like a real human body does in doxorubicine's clinical trials. That means if there are no ethical concerns, then we are this close to becoming God. So friends, do share this video with your friends and family members, because our mission is to spread scientific information in all countries. To see more informative videos, subscribe to our channel now and press the bell icon so that the notifications of our every video reach you first.